Hi guys, Owner here. This is going to be a video about a little more about my DeGauss unwinding coil, a little more in more detail, so those of you who decide to build it, you can do a little bit better. I'm going to make extensive use of pauses and show you parts of the unwinder and comment about them and how I built them. So here goes our first pause. Okay, now this is a shot of the center hub. First thing I did was cut those outside pieces to length and then bore a hole through them. Then I cut the inner parts and then I put them on the grid that I marked out a hexagon on that piece of OSB, and then I screwed them in. Then I discovered that it wouldn't lean so much, so I took a piece of 2x4 and I bored a hole for a bearing. Inside there is a skate bearing. Now let me take a look at the back side. Okay, this is a side view. If you look closely, you'll see those black things down inside there, which are the skid bumpers. And I've got two 2x4s. You'll see where I've marked a hole up the center. So there I have a cap screw with inside there's a skate bearing. There's another skate bearing on the other side of this board here, so that creates an axle. Then there's another skate bearing on here and another skate bearing on the outside of here. So I've actually got 4 skate bearings on this 8mm bore going through here. Now while we're back here, we might look at one of these guys here. I've taken a 1/2 inch fitting around the 1/2 inch pipe. I've made a slit down it, and I'm using a stainless steel hose clamp to clamp that onto the 1/2 inch pipe that makes the spokes. And that is the DeGaussing coil unwinding wheel. It stands 3 feet off the ground on a 2x4 stand. Comes down here to the base where it's just a couple of 2x4s that are screwed from the bottom up into the OSB. And then 2 screws on the back, 2 screws on the front, into the 2x4, and then a bunch of screws up through into the 2x4. The wire comes off the wheel and then down to this little guy right here. That's some acrylic that is a roller on skate bearings, and then 2 other rollers on skate bearings. Let's see if we can get a shot down through there. 2 rollers on skate bearings so that it sort of guides the wire where it's going to go. I'm anticipating putting another one in place of that post right there. Right now that post is just a piece of wood with some holes in it. Then the wire comes through over here to the DeGaussing tower, to the unkinking tower, where it goes underneath here, and there's a roller right there. And then if I want to, I can go under this roller, over this roller, out it, yeah. And then it comes up over, then it comes up all through there and comes over this one, over this one. Then it comes over this one, down through, and I've got a couple of right here. If I can get my hands on it, there we go. These 2 guys right here, coupled with these 2 down here, keep the wire constrained within about this amount in the tower. Then it comes down over this wheel, which is just a good old Harbor Freight wheel, comes back down around and underneath and comes out through this guy, and then it comes down here onto my winding section. And right now my winding section consists of a wiper motor out of a German or European car that makes a connection. I found that it has 6mm screws on it and the 8mm screws, so I just got some wing nuts, and I've got 2 wing nuts down in there that intermesh. And when I turn it on, the wing nuts intermesh, and it just directly drives this shaft that comes through here. Then I have a 5/8 bolt where I hired a machine shop to drill and thread. so that this bolt just bolts right on there. And then over here to support the other end, I have another bearing with a bolt nut that comes through. I've learned that I need to keep things very clean down here because you see this section right here. I got a piece of gunk in the threads and couldn't get it off, and finally had to use extensive strength to get it off, and it had to end up filing off that bolt to make it work. I use a 5/8 nylock bolt on the other side of the bobbin, and so now I'll thread this wire up, put a bobbin on there, and show you when we're done, and then turn it on and show you there. Okay, using those two big wrenches there, I've put a bobbin onto my winder, and now I'm going to come up here and show this here. When I unwound this round, I left the wires there. So here are the two connections that it makes to the coil, and the wire went around like this. So now what I'm going to do is unwind this, which will release my wires. And now I have one wire that's coming off the coil to my right, and another wire here that's going, that I'm going to take and tape or fasten there, and then this wire here that's going around the coil will be the one that I'm pulling off, because when they were winding it this way clockwise, and so this wire here is the one that wants to come off. So now I grab my nippers, nip that wire, wrap this around a little bit so that it won't be interfering with me, nip off that guy, grab this wire, pull it around, pull it down. Oh boy. Okay, as I was pulling that off, I found a piece of cellophane tape that I forgot to get in the unwinding process. So now we take the wire here, fit it through there, then through this little hole here. Now comes the most unfortunate part, is I got to wind it through that tower, so I'll pause it until that's done. Okay, now the wire runs up and through the tower, over the wheel, down through that post, and up and on to the bobbin. And if I turn it on, there we go. Need to back it off just a little bit and scoot these wires over so we get a good lay on our coil. And now I'm ready to wind a coil. And you can see my other videos to see how that's done, but that's how it's done. It goes from here, through this post, back through that roller, underneath this roller, over this roller, up across the wheel, over the top, down. Could go over this roller, over that roller, over this roller, over that roller, over that roller, over here, back through here, back through these two guide rollers, this downcoming roller, up it goes until it's there on the wheel, coming off and around and around. Got a few minutes left on this video, so maybe I'll set it up and run it for a few minutes on it so you can see the wheel turn. Okay, if you've watched my earlier videos, you've noticed I've switched back over to the shorter spokes because all I've got left is small things, so let me start winding this guy. See how it turns and how it's coming off? When it's done, I'll put it back on and show you a video of the coil I produce. Okay, there it is. That's all the wire that came off of that tool. I'll take it off here and I'll come back in just a minute. Alright, there we go. 545 feet of number 27 gauge wire weighing 6.3 ounces. Comes over here to the great big bin full of wires that I've won with my DeGauss wire. This is Ogre Owner signing off, getting ready to unwind some more wire. Bye bye.